Hello and welcome to production planning approaches for Lexus. My name is David Smith.
I'm Peter Nelson.
And I'm Jason.
Today we're going to be talking about Lexus, a car line OEM that provides sales, service, and parts for retail customers and has a tire sales program. As the manager of this program, I facilitate inventory and sale of tires. The purpose of this project is to identify needs and process improvement opportunities within the Lexus tire program for the purpose of maximizing inventory controls and sales forecasting. The two most relevant activities to our research are inventory control and accurate forecasting, and we will delve into these topics and determine whether we can address the associated issues and make recommendations to help Lexus. Over to you, Jason. Over to you, Jason.
Apologies. In our analysis, we looked at 13 separate inventory management techniques. Minimum order quantity is one of them, is the lowest set amount of stock that a supplier is willing to sell. ABC analysis sorts into inventory into three categories: best-selling, mid-range, and the rest of the inventory, identifying items to reorder more frequently. Just-in-time inventory is simply making what is needed when it's needed. Safety stock inventory is maintaining a small surplus to guard against erratic sales. FIFO, first in, first out, is good for perishable items such as food. And LIFO, last in, first out, is good for homogeneous items such as brick or stone. Reorder point formula indicates approximate period to order more stock. For instance, that is notification when we've reached our lowest amount of inventory where we still can sustain. Batch tracking tracks materials from origin to destination to allow for near real-time visibility. Consignment inventory, a vendor gives goods to a consignee without paying for the goods up front. A perpetual inventory tracks sold and stocked inventory in real time, updating accounting systems as changes occur. Drop shipping is what a 3PL does. It allows selling and shipping products not owned and not stocked. 3PL produces, warehouses, and ships. Economic order quantity is the lowest amount to meet peak customer demand without experiencing stockouts, a goal of low inventory. Next slide. Selecting a strategy. We are looking at two separate options to improve upon Lexus's tire supply management. Option one is a push strategy, which utilizes a combination of ABC analysis and is augmented by safety stock. Option two is a pull strategy, outsources our entire inventory management to a 3PL to drop ship. Under option one, ABC analysis will categorize our best-selling items, mid-range items, and the rest of our inventory into pools for analysis. By identifying and tracking in this manner, the analysis lends itself to massage capital costs by identifying which items should be recorded more often and evaluates this measure more frequently. Through this process, we can assume we will be able to identify which items don't need to be stocked with the hope of reducing obsolete inventory and optimizing the rate of new inventory turnover. Safety stocks, if we pair with ABC analysis with maintaining a safety stock measured by historic demand, these small surpluses can aid in weathering peak predictable seasons, thereby limiting the occurrence of stockouts. These two strategies combined will allow for more accurate projection of demand and will lend to better management of unexpected spikes. Pros to option one: more accurate projections versus demand, greater visibility on more activities, making activities more quantifiable, protection against unexpected spikes in demand, prevention of stockouts, compensation for inaccurate market forecasts, and creating a buffer for longer than expected lead times. Under option two, which is drop shipping, it allows Lexus to sell and ship products they don't own and don't stock. In this model, suppliers produce these goods, warehouse them, and ship them to customers on order. Lead times are well defined, stockouts are minimized, and company can then focus on key competencies such as selling vehicles and selling tires. The pros to option 2 are low startup costs, low cost of inventory, low order fulfillment costs, sell and test more products with less risk. I'll be followed by Peter to cover forecasting.
Great. Thanks, Jason. Looking at forecasting, the problem is the numbers aren't matching up. So why are we so far off? The current goal is to find a more accurate method of forecasting and to present it to management, and hopefully it will be something that aligns more with actual demand versus the numbers that we're currently seeing that have been consistently off target. So current forecasting methods are unclear. I don't know that everybody's on the same page with the forecasting methods and with the forecasts coming top down. Is everyone who has a part in forecasting collaborating? So is everybody around working on forecasts together, or are the forecasts being done siloed off in separate places without all the best information coming together? Do the forecasts take into account order parameters? So are there MOQs that we have to worry about that aren't being considered when the forecasts are being created? Do the forecasts and order strategies match up with the aforementioned inventory strategies? What Jason just went through, do the forecasts match up with those strategies? And are the right sales and order behaviors being rewarded? Are managers being rewarded for the amount of tires that are being ordered rather than having the right amount of tires at the right place at the right time? So moving down to the next slide, looking at forecasting methods and techniques. There's a couple different forecasting methods that are common. There's a qualitative or a judgmental forecasting method. This is one that can be responsive to the latest changes in the environment. It can use inside information. So is there some sort of any big sales going on, whether it's a holiday sale or something else of that sort that we should be including in our forecasts? And it can compensate for one-time events, something like a discontinuation of a specific tire line that we have. Then there's quantitative or statistical. So this is objective, consistent, can handle large amounts of data, and can compute many variables and complex relationships. The key with the quantitative or statistical is you have to have historical data in order to use it. And we'll get more into that in a moment. And then there's techniques. In terms of techniques, like I said, you have to have historical data to use a quantitative method, but generally speaking, it's best to use a combination of a qualitative and quantitative forecasting method, one where you can use historical data in your quantitative section, but you also have that inside information from sales team, from corporate, that you can layer into that quantitative method. It can recognize changes, institutes flexibility, and can increase the speed of information transfer. Moving to the next slide, quantitative forecasting methods. As I mentioned, we used a few different methods here when we looked at the data that we had. We used a regression forecast, a seasonally adjusted regression forecast, and simple exponential smoothing. So this allowed us to we had a couple years worth of data to take what happened in 2017, use these forecasts to see what happened, compare our forecasts for 2018 to actuals, and then choose the forecasting method that had the lowest error in terms of from 2017 to 2018 as we ran into our 2019 and made numbers and created a forecast for 2019. We'll move on to David to wrap up.
Coming into our recommendations, what we talked about through stockouts and forecasting, the stockouts, we're sorting inventory into 3 categories: best selling, mid-range, and the rest of the inventory. We need to identify items to reorder more frequently and which ones sit on the shelf and take up space. We do want to include safety stock to better manage inventory and prevent stockouts on more popular items. The other thing is we want to increase our inventory levels and have a more agile inventory management instead of just in time, which can lead to a lack of flexibility. So when we're always waiting on just one more set of tires to be ordered, then that can lead us to losing one more sale. Regarding forecasting, we want to make sure that management is communicating with the footmen. We want to put an end to pulling orders. We want to make sure that the qualitative and quantitative forecasting methods are taken into account what's happening in real time, and not just looking at things from an office perspective, seeing them as numbers on a board. And we want to make sure that we're ordering, that we're tracking the right KPIs, so we know why we're ordering something, so that we can keep track of whether or not we're stocking up for an upcoming sale, whether or not we have an excess inventory from a previous sale, and just to make sure that when we come back to that period the following year, we're not coming up against false numbers. The best practices that we have encountered through our stocking and forecasting will be recommended to Lexus, and we hope to see positive outcome from management implementation. Thank you so much. Have a great day.